joining me. Hello, everyone. Yeah, can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me know. So glad to be with you here today. All right, so just starting the live streaming, making sure that everything is set, and you all can come on. Yeah, go ahead and put your questions in the chat. Go ahead and put your comment where you're reaching from. I definitely want to have that intimate time with you today. Yes, I'm going to be asking you questions that's going to make you feel like, invasive much. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? We're ready for it. We're ready for it. Okay, so go ahead and put in the chat where you are reaching me from. I know some of you have already sent in messages calling in from the US, calling in from New Jersey, from Abuja, Nigeria. Where else? I definitely want to know. Please share. Looking at you, looking for you in the chat. Go ahead and keep sharing. All right, it's a wonderful Sunday afternoon. How it going? How's it going? So as everyone is coming on, I made a very, very bold and daring statement. And I said, what one thing could change everything? I dared you. And I said, hey, can you think of that one thing that can change everything? And you were like, brother, bring it on. Bring it on. I got you. And let's do this. And I was like, okay, if you say so, I'm here all day, every day. And thank you for being here with me. Um, Go ahead and share this video with your friends. As you come in, go ahead and share this video. We're going to be talking about something today that can change everything. That one thing. This is that one thing. And you might be wondering, are you sure that there is this silver bullet that can actually get everything? I'm sure. I am sure. As much as lies within your power, there's that one thing. There's not 10 things that lie within your power. It's that one thing. And it's that one thing that is the junction at which you make the many, several decisions at different points in your life that'll cause the change that you desire. That one thing. I will be sharing this now with all of you everywhere. And you go ahead and share it with your friends and family. Come right in the room, waiting on you. Give me a couple of seconds as I get this on. All right, I see you all in the chat. Okay, hello, Jumoke. Good to see you. And I will be doing this, making sure that I'm reading the chat because today is very engaging. Where are you reaching me from? And what is one key thing that you would say today? I want to learn this one. What is that thing? Go ahead and share with me. Go ahead and share with me. All right, great. So as you are coming in, go ahead, put in the chat where you're reaching me from, and we will keep going. And I will start. Okay. You guys are coming online. That is great. First of all, let me apologize for starting a bit late. And let me also apologize for doing my networking thing as I'm in here. You know, I haven't been coming on YouTube Live often, but it's going to change this 2025. How many of you would like that? No, if you would like it, please share. Share and tell me, hey, brother, this is what I have been waiting for. And now you're giving me what I want. Okay. I'm reading your comments. I'm reading your chat. Where are you reaching me from? And what is that one thing that you will say today? This is the one thing that I want to learn. Go ahead and put it in the chat. Give me your guess. Somebody guessed before. That one thing is mindset. You're close. You're close. But you see, mindset is not an action. It's not a tool like that. It's something that stays with you. What is it that mindset causes you to do? That thing that changes something. What is that thing? Go ahead and guess with me. Put it in the chat, right there in the chat. Go ahead, right ahead. What is that one thing that can change everything? There's something my daughter said today, and this is how I know that the lessons have started really, really resonating, that the lessons have started working. And she said something, Mom, we were driving somewhere to go drop someone. And she was like, Mom, can we stay there for a little bit before we go? And then she knows, and she knows some of my values, right? And then she said something that changed everything. She said, we can either stay 5 minutes or 15 minutes. You choose. This is how you know that you are dealing with a bralade. When you get to that place where you say, you choose. That is how you know that you are dealing with bralade. And that power of choice, where does it lie? Where does it lie? Many people wonder, okay, are you saying, Bralade, I can do that one thing that can change everything? Today, I will dare you to try it. And if it doesn't work, you come back and tell me. But in truth, it's a non negotiable because it is the point at which everything changes. Okay, so now that you're here with me, let's get started. I appreciate you joining me today. And who better to hang out with if not you all? Doma is reaching me from Houston, Texas. Tomisin is joining me from Nigeria. Well, where in Nigeria? Because you see, Houston, Texas, they didn't even mention the country. So I'm wondering, like, okay, how are we supposed to know where exactly that is? But she just has faith. She just has faith that it's true. Everybody knows where this is. So let me go right ahead and start sharing. I'll be going on live briefly on IG2. So those of you who are there, go ahead and join me and let's get started. This year, can some of you tell me what are some key goals? What are some things that you've looked at to say, this year, this is something that was part of my goals? Because we're talking about the one thing that could change everything. So, what is one of those changes that at some point this year you were looking at and you're like, brother, this is an area of my life where I would want a change? Or you even started and the change was already in motion, but right now you're looking at it and you're like, I don't even know where we are right now. What is that place? Go ahead and share with me. What is that place? Some people wanted to look at spaces in their lives for their goals. And when I say goals, goals in terms of their career, even their relationships, right? A lot of people were looking at, okay, my weight or my education. What is that area of your life? Share it with me. I'm waiting in the chat. What is that one place you were looking at and you're like, okay, this is a change I want. This is something that I desire. And many of you wrote it down. You even put a plan around it, and maybe you're even still desiring it, but things are not quite where you thought they would be. Put it in the chat. I want to hear from you. And those of you joining us on Instagram, go ahead and share for me in the chat. What is one area of your life this year that you're like, this year, this is the area I want to see a change in? Until now, you haven't seen that change. Share with me. Share with me, what is that space in your life? You started the year fine, you wrote your New Year resolutions, you had these grand plans, but as you kept looking and looking, things seem to be staying the same. And you're wondering, hey, I thought I had all these grand plans. What is happening? What is going on? Someone said this year is to get my mind and body right. And I want you to put in there, as you are putting that thing in the chat, go ahead and put a percentage where you think you currently are featuring in this goal, the way things are moving. I don't mean like normal progress, but like even where you are, that place right now. You're still nowhere near to be on track. Or you're looking at your relationships. You may be looking at your relationships. You say, these are my key relationships. This is where I'm currently lacking. Where is that place in your life? Share. Or is it your time? I said this year I would have more time to do this, to go here, to spend time with the people I love. Do you have your time right? Do you have that freedom, that liberty to spend quality time on the things that you desire? Where is that place? What is that thing? Yes, somebody said January felt like a test run. Keep going. Let's keep going. And we see that as we move on, as we're looking at these areas of our lives, if you look at something like the wheel of life or the key areas where you want to set goals, it's primary love relationships, it's freedom of money, finances, freedom of time, it's your spiritual health, if you like, or your spirituality. And it's your body, mind, your body and your physical health as well. When you look at all these areas of your time, your friendships, because we know relationships are not created equal. Where is that place that you're finding that this thing is irking? This thing is still persisting. I wish I could change this one thing, and yet that thing still persists. What do you believe is lacking? You might have started the year, this year I'm going to be the most responsive person. And you found out that, look, my inbox is full. My text messages are many. I do not know where to start, Balade. I'm burning out. It has started burning, but there's no replenishing. You know when you're burning a candle, but it's depleting, it's not increasing. You're beginning to feel that. Or this relationship, you thought like, okay, I'm about to make changes in this space. But you see those issues still persisting. You're like, will we ever get this marriage right? What on earth is happening? Will my teenager ever change? This friendship, what is this thing that I'm here? Maybe you started this year out saying, I will have more time for myself, and more good opportunities kept coming. And you kept saying, yes, yes, yes. And what started happening? You have started feeling this resentment, burnt out, financial stress. Because yes, I want this, I want that, but right now you're feeling that strain. How's it going for you? How is it going for you? So I want you to raise your hand if this year, this early year, you've already started feeling the strain of commitment. I want you to share for me. If this year you have started feeling that strain, put your hand up. This year you started feeling like, I started that December ended with this level of self-awareness, but now I'm beginning to feel the pinch. Who am I? I don't even know. What am I doing? This year I said I wouldn't be doing these things, but so far I found myself doing these things. Have you been feeling this thing? Raise your hand if you're one of them. If you are one of many of us, if you started feeling exhaustion already, we never even start. And that is pidgin English for we haven't started yet. You haven't started yet, but you started feeling this emotional exhaustion. And you know that this goal, you haven't even hit 10%. And you're saying, okay, so does it mean that if I keep going like this, what will be remaining of me? Raise your hand if you started seeing diminished results. You started very heavy at the beginning. In fact, the pound started dropping. Now, even though your steps have increased to 15,000, you started seeing that it's dropping. Diminished results. Raise your hand if you've started feeling some of these things. Raise your hand if this year already your money goals, your saving goals, all of those things that you said, I'm going to start doing, you started feeling some of that strain. Raise that hand. That one thing that could change everything. Endless cycle. In fact, my mindset, I said, I'm going to change this mindset, but I'm finding that those patterns, they are coming back. And you know that this is not just about you waking up earlier and doing more, because you don't even want to do more. You're even feeling strained. In fact, you start wondering, well, all these people calling me to talk, let nobody talk to me. Too many goals, too many, I don't even want to do. I don't want to do again. This is too much for me. What are those things for you that you started seeing? So let me paint you some pictures, because this might be you. You are looking, it's 9 p.m. and you might still be at your desk staring at your laptop. You promise somebody you'll meet them up for dinner, or maybe it's even the kids. You promise them you'll be home. But another person's emergency has turned into a priority again. And then you are getting the text, babe, when I'm coming home, what's happening? And then guilt is rising. What choice do you have? You have started thinking. And if you've ever stayed in your own life and you felt like, am I living somebody else's life? This thing says, is it really what I want? Is my time my own? I don't even know. Where am I going? What am I doing? All this purpose vision, this thing I'm doing, is it for me? If you've ever felt guilty for thinking like, this may not be what I want. This may not be what I want. And if you look in the chat, you can see other people putting their own hands up. We're all in this together. So many people feeling stretched too thin, burning out, wondering, how can we find this elusive balance? I thought I started the year well. I even did this goal strategy session. So what is different? I'd be feeling like, okay, do I want to really hope? It's not better to just bust all these things so that I know that I didn't really put my hope and my trust in this thing, and I can just move on. And when you look and look, you start seeing that maybe there is one thing. Maybe there is that one thing. Well, me, I'm here to tell you, there is that one thing that can change a lot of things, that can break this cycle of moving till you are exhausted, or of wishing, and taking no action, or of being in that relationship, trying, because we are trying in a certain way now. We're going to pick a certain way to trying, but it not working. You're feeling still that toxic energy. You're feeling still that resentment. Maybe the person is perfect, but you're just wondering, what is wrong in this relationship? This thing I'm saying now is sounding like a silver bullet, because brother, you're talking about goals, you're talking about relationships. Which one are you not talking about? I will even get to money. This money, I'm working. Where is this money? Why do I feel powerless? Why do I feel like I don't got it all together? What is it? And I want to tell you what it is. If you want me to say what it is, can you put it in the chat so that I can see you? Say, Bralade, tell me what this thing is. Tell me what this thing is. What is this thing? Share with me. And if you've known me, then you would know that there is one thing I've been talking about from the beginning, and I want to tell you how I came upon it. I've always known that as human beings, we have power, right? We have power, but what is this power for? A lot of times we do not know what this power is for, or how to use this power. Sometimes we feel like, okay, this power is to use to control circumstances. I said I would get this goal. I started going for the goal. In fact, I applied for the job. I went for the interview and everything. What did I not do? And then they didn't pick you. So you're here wondering, where is what am I? Or I'm trying my best in this relationship. If only she would listen. If only I would listen. And all these things. And everything is seeming like you have no power. Let me tell you what you have the power for. The one guaranteed thing you have power over, that one thing is boundaries. Boundaries. It might sound small to your ears, but if you know this power, if you know and you harness this power, you see all the futility, the exhaustion, the choices, it will start to correct itself because you now know that this your power is not for everything. Oh, you didn't know. Your power is not for everything. Your power is for you to set the boundaries you need to be the person you are and who you want to be, to have what you desire, to have the kind of joy, to have the kind of peace, even to have the material things you want is boundaries. To have the kind of relationships you want, to be the kind of person you can look at in the mirror and have respect for is boundaries. Oh, is boundaries. Is boundaries. Let me start from number one, your energy. Your energy. What can boundaries do? What can boundaries do? How can they help you? What are these things that they can do? It can help you reclaim your energy. They can help you translate to having autonomy in your relationships, to not having that resentment feeling that no matter how your relationships progress, you will have this sense of control that will carry you through any season that you're in. Because in case you didn't know, in this life, I'm quoting Bible now verbatim, in this life, you will have what? Trouble. Simple and short. You will have trouble. So how do you tide these storms of life that you already know they are giving? Oh, okay. Were you thinking that when you come here, they will now say, oh, brother, Adoma, Jumoke, Tomisi, there will be no more trouble in this life anymore. We're good forever and forever. You will no longer have trouble. No, that one is not there. But it will help you transform your relationships because of how you start showing up. It will help you liberate time. It will help you accelerate success. It will help you multiply your being, your own self-trust, your self-confidence, your sense of self. It will help you entrench it. So you might be asking me, what are boundaries? What are boundaries? This thing, this fundamental skill, this mindset shift that most of us were never taught, this thing that is so essential, yet is often seen as selfish and mean. What is this thing? We've talked about the challenges, the overwhelm, the resentment, the exhaustion, the lack of accomplishment, the lack of identity. And I'm telling you, boundaries. Now, when I talk about that thing that is missing, a lot of people usually react in one of these three ways. They say, oh no, I tried that, it didn't work. And brother, this thing you're talking about for boundaries, nah, it doesn't really work for me. I'm kind of different, or the people in my life, they won't listen, or I find it hard to just stick to a routine, to a schedule. Another one people say is that, but if I do that, people won't like me. Or that sounds nice in theory, but in my situation, it's impossible. If you've ever said that, tell me some of the things you've said about boundaries before. Let me read from you. What are some of the things that you have thought about boundaries? I'm moving my screen so I can read your chat, right? So these boundaries, the way we're talking about, they are not walls. They are not, oh, I don't want anybody to come in my space. That's it done. Nah. They're not ultimatums. They're not once this happens, that's it, blocked, cut off from my life. No, it's not pushing people away. It's not self-flagellation, like work yourself to the bone, like you will not sleep until you complete this work. No, it's not killing of self. Yeah. Boundaries are just about, like what Brene Brown said, being clear and kind. That's what boundaries are about. Clear. Are we clear? This is your goal. Have you written it out in such a way that it's so clear? Now you can see your path to it. This relationship, have you defined what it is you really want, how it is you really want to be in this marriage? so that resentment is not clouding your eyes. Because sometimes, we're sending a message, but then we're not really getting the message because you are not speaking straight to us. I don't like this. I don't like that. So what do you like? What do you want? Have you been clear? So here's what boundaries mean. They are not walls, they are filters. See walls, see it as a fence with a gate. That's essentially a filter. It filters who is allowed in. It filters what is allowed in. It allows you to let in what serves you, and it filters out what doesn't. It allows you to choose. Now, look, what serves you doesn't mean bad and good. But depending on what those goals and those resolutions you started this year with are, you know what the right thing is to let in. You know. And guess what else? You can test and also determine. So you may have chosen wrongly, but today you get to decide. It's not hard. All it takes is choice. This is what your power is for. Your power is not to change someone else. Your power is not just to change circumstances by your will. No, it's about to decide who you are, who Jane is, who Mark is, and stand by it. What your goal is, what your purpose is, what your love relationship wants to be like, and decide how it will be. They're not about controlling others. They're about owning your own space and energy. Just in case you haven't realized, you really cannot change another human being. Let me allow that one just to sink. Somebody put it in the chat. I cannot change another human being. Put it in the chat. Can you influence? Yes. But that's in your hand to say, today I change you. You are henceforth no longer this. You are now that. Is it possible? Can you change another human being? No, if it's not possible, put it in there. I cannot change another human being. Let me tell you. In case you're still wondering, well, brother, do you mean that? Yes, I mean it. Even your children, you can only influence them for as long as they're naive enough to be influenced by you, which is not a bad thing. If you carry good teachings and good philosophies and doctrines, that's not a bad thing. But a time comes that they get to choose. A time will come inevitably. They can say, I choose this or I don't choose that. If you have done your work well, they will choose because now they've now come to believe and they've now come to say, okay, this is the way. But even then, they can still choose differently. And it's okay. Is what? It's okay. If God is okay with letting us choose, who do you think you are? To subvert another man's will. Who do you really, really think you are? What do you think you have? How smart do you think you are? How wise do you think you are that you get to decide what somebody will be? You cannot change another human being. You cannot change your boss. You cannot change your spouse. I know some people will now look and be like, okay, if so, it's only God that can change them. God changed them. I wish that Adam, I'm sure that Adam looked at God and like, God, but were you not there? Because now you are saying it, I was there when Eve ate this fruit. Were you not there? And God is like, it was you could have spoken up too. He had already said his own. If you decide to take it, fine. If you don't decide to take it, he respects it. It's just that you will face the consequences. Boundaries are you realizing I cannot change another person. The only thing I can change is my attitude. The only person I can change is me. By the information I allow in my space and by the decisions I make and act on. That's all. You cannot control another person. Think of all the scriptures. Behold, I set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Choose life that you may live. God has given us free will, choice. So if he does not insist, in fact, he even insists, but he allows you to be the maker of the decision. If you knew that in your marriage, this You couldn't change the other person. How would you start approaching it? If you knew that in your marriage, you do not have the right to demand another person change and actually have it be so without the other person's buying, how would you show up? If you knew that your goal, you could only work on the strategy and you cannot determine the outcome, how would you show up to your goal? Would you come back again and say the next time, well, it didn't work, I'm not doing it again? When you know for sure that you do not determine the outcome. You just know that in this life, there are laws. Seed time and harvest does not seed. All I do is work as diligently as possible, have the right mindset. But even then, the Bible says time and chance, time and chance, time and chance. So you might be wondering, so brother, these things you are saying, if I can't change, what is the use of doing? It's a law. It's a law of being. The law of being would state that you control what you can control. You do that in the place by using your boundaries. You control what you can control. That's it. That's the prerogative that's been given to you. Boundaries are not about saying no to other people or saying no to things. They're about saying yes to yourself. So many of us will say, oh, I don't really want to set goals this year because I don't want to, you understand, I don't want to raise false hope. In this life, except you have not been hoping, some of your hopes will be what? They will be dashed in this life. No, if you've had any hope dashed, please let me see your hand. Any of your hopes been dashed? Let me see your hands. Because I don't really know what people think sometimes. Okay, life will just be moving. You will just be moving forward. Boundaries are what you say yes to, regardless, not being attached to outcomes. You put a picture way ahead of you. This is why I did the purpose, vision, goals workshop earlier, well, last month. I wanted to say earlier this month. Now it is last month. Why? Because the only thing you know, what future would look like, where you are presently, then you begin to take your steps there to reach there. These steps, would they work? Sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't. But you keep going. This relationship, this is how I want it to be. You write about it, you talk about it, and all of that. But then you are working on this thing, is looking one kind. What is the one skill you have? What is the one power you have that if you harness, you'll be okay? It's boundaries. Why? Because they are not rigid rules. They are flexible guidelines. People change, circumstances change. What is that thing that will allow and steer you? You know, in psycho-cybernetics, which is self-image, you will always correct yourself to target. If you know, as a human being, maybe you bend down to pick up something, ultimately you will rise up and stand to your full height. How does that affect boundaries? I drew a diagram once. If this is who I am, I can swerve a little bit to this side, swerve a little bit to this side. It is boundaries that hold, for me, the road, the guardrails beyond which I cannot move, whether internally or externally. Boundaries are your guardrails. Your energy, your time, your talent, all of them, they're like water. Without boundaries, they just dissipate. What do you use to hold them in check? What do you use to hold them in check? When you master this one skill, imagine making decisions without guilt. Imagine having energy left at the end of the day, energy for your goals, for your relationships. Think about relationships where you truly, truly, truly feel respected. A calendar that will energize you, it will not exhaust you. No, what will you do with all that reclaimed energy and time? Put for me. Put for me in that chat. What would you do with all that reclaimed energy and time and mindset? Because a lot of the things that boundaries, a lack of boundaries does to us is to make you feel less than, is to deplete your energy. Yeah. And for today's class, all that we will be talking about is just why you need boundaries, why you need clarity. If you don't know where you are going, you will go everywhere, except that place you say, I don't want to go. Okay, you say I don't want to go to these 5 cities, but there are 15 other cities. So which of them do you want to go to? How do you even know what the things are that you want to protect? Remember, boundaries are about letting the right things in and keeping the bad out. Keeping the not expedient. Paul said all things are lawful, not all things are expedient. How do I keep this thing? Okay, right now I want to focus on my weight. Maybe this is not the time to go and focus on something else too. Maybe this is not the time to go focus on these other 10 wonderful things. Oh my gosh, that's also good to do. Oh, this course is also wonderful. Oh my gosh, this friend called me and the other one. And do you understand? When your boundaries are too porous, you are everywhere doing everything, letting everything in, saying so many yeses that you as a finite resource cannot fulfill. Please put in the chat, I am a finite resource. Just in case you didn't know, let me let you know. You are what? A finite resource. You're not infinite. You're not infinite. And when we collect all these your energies together, free you up from resentment. Think about it. What dreams have you put on hold because your energy is scattered in too many directions? What dreams? What would you then do with it? No, are you excited? Say, this is one thing that I'll be able to do. You'll be able to have energy. Because every time you say yes when you mean no, you are making a withdrawal on yourself. You're a finite resource. Every time you take on someone else's responsibilities, you are giving out stuff you may never get back because there's no guarantee that person will come back and do your own piece. Allowing you to have the energy to invest in what truly matters to you. In those relationships where you think you are trying your best, meanwhile, what you're currently doing is taking someone else's responsibility. This is the month of love. Somebody spoke about once how somebody asked the guy, maybe a man and a woman in a relationship, someone asked the guy to date her. Then eventually she bought the ring, gave it to him, told him where to propose to her, and then paid for the whole wedding, told him where to stand, bought the suit and everything. But in the marriage, you now want 50-50. The training has to start anew because the former training, which is the programming that person is operating on now, is that you will do what? Everything. That is the former training. Are you ready to train aright? No, are you ready to train aright? So everything that has happened in the past, if it has not yet signaled that this is the life that you are creating, you think you'll give boundaries a chance? No, let me see you in the chat. Would you give boundaries a chance so that you can reclaim your energy, so that you can have relationship respect, relationship capital, relationship partnership? Would you give it a chance? Because when you stop over functioning, you create space for others to set up. When you say, I will bring my love, you will bring your love, and together we'll create something magical. That's boundaries. You're letting the other person show up for themselves as well as for you. Have you ever been in a relationship, only the person wanted to give to you? You say, let me give you a gift. They're like, no, no, no. Let me be the only one. I have everything. Nah, it's give and take. Even God, we give to God. God said that when you give that beggar money, you give that person food. He said, you were lending to me. You were giving to me. He has made an arrangement for us to be able to give back because in a relationship, both parties give. We give him praise. We give him worship. We give him things that he wants. Is it now our earthly relationships that we shouldn't be able to put those things in place? And you notice, even though you think it's okay, as soon as you are the only one giving and it is sustained sufficiently to deplete you, guess what creeps in? Resentment. Guess what resentment is? Is a thief of energy. It's a thief of creativity. It's a thief of initiative. When you stop accepting breadcrumbs in your relationship, you make space for real connection. When you decide that I'm no longer playing at this level, you now start making space for real connections. The clearer your boundaries are, the deeper and more authentic your relationships become. The one that you know, this is where this person stands. There's a kind of respect that comes from it. When you know somebody is busy and they tell you, I'm not free at this time, but at this hour I'll be free, you will value that hour more than if the person was just like, I'll wait for you all day. Then you come by 2 p.m. the person is upset. You're upset they didn't tell you this. Nah. Yeah. The third one is time liberation. Having endless time isn't about time management. It's about boundary management. All of us will have 24 hours in a day. Nobody has more. When you master boundaries, you stop living someone else's agenda. You start living your own agenda. But then again, if you don't have your agenda clear, whose agenda are you living in? Whose agenda? Your calendar becomes a reflection of your priorities. Do you know what your priorities are? This is what I help people do. If we don't yet have a picture of the future that we desire in our relationships, in our businesses, in our spiritual lives, in our financial lives, in our social life, we have no business setting boundaries. Because what boundaries do you know to set? What boundaries do you know to set? You start discovering with your time. It's like, oh my gosh, you mean I had all this time? That's what you start discovering. You mean I had all this time? The fourth one is the success accelerator. Boundaries have a way of accelerating you. Success isn't about just working harder or smarter, just working everywhere. No, it's about focusing your energy, your talents where it matters most. You know, when the Bible talks about this thing about setting your eyes as a flint, yeah, it's boundaries that allows you to do that. It's boundaries that help you do that thing. If not, you wouldn't be able to focus. Whatever sphere of your life you've decided, this place, this is what I want. Because what is success after all? Is setting a goal and accomplishing it. Yeah. It helps you filter out what does not serve your goal and helps you amplify it. Think about it. What have you decided to do? Now, anybody that wants to put a goal in the chat for me, and I'll tell you how boundaries can help you accomplish it. Is it weight loss? You have to set boundaries with yourself. To say, we wake up 5 a.m. every morning to walk. Every single morning. Then what do? You put your alarm clock. You put your shoes by the bed. What is my consequence? I don't wake up that morning. There's no breakfast for me. I see what boundaries do. Now, give me any relationship challenge you're facing, put it in the chat. And I'll tell you how boundaries can make a difference. Yeah. This is the difference between being busy and productive. Because I know you haven't been resting on your oars. I know you haven't been sitting around doing nothing since January. No, you've been busy doing things, many things. But sometimes you're just wondering, where are these activities? Where is it going to? The difference between motion and progress. One, you are just everywhere, running everywhere. And this one, you are making headway towards somewhere. Number 5 is the self-trust multiplier. Look, you are the most important person in your life. If you didn't know before, let me tell you now. I know if you're a mother here, you're probably thinking your children are. If you're a wife here, you're probably thinking your husband is. If you are an employee here, you're probably thinking your boss is. No, you are the most important stakeholder in your life. Your utmost respect should go to you first because yourself can do yourself things that even you will look at yourself and be like, wow. You know when yourself starts working against you, have you ever experienced self-sabotage? You will look at yourself almost like, am I the enemy? Am I the savior of my life? No. If you have never looked at yourself as that most important stakeholder, who you have to convince to begin to set boundaries, change it now. Every time you honor a boundary, you make a deposit in your self-trust account. You're saying, Bralade, you are worthy of taking this step. You're worthy of honor and respect. You're worthy of love. You're worthy of aspirations. You're worthy of maximizing your potentials and being everything that God has created you to be. Every time you honor a boundary, that's what you're saying. Each time you choose yourself, you strengthen your inner authority. You're saying, okay, I have a PhD in the study of me. I know the things that work for me, the things that don't. And next time you are willing to listen to yourself, some of us sometimes, our best friends, they have a heavier authority in our lives than we even do. Like, what will I tell my friends? Some people married someone because they did not tell their parents that they didn't want this person. Do you realize you are the biggest authority in your own life? You are. I know you will say God is. Let me tell you what God is. God is the biggest influence. If you do not agree, you can go your own way. I said it. If you say, God, I don't agree. I mean, what do we call sin? It is our unwillingness sometimes to go the path of God. That's your prerogative. It is your prerogative to live right or to live bad. It's your prerogative. I respect it. What I just want you to know is that there are consequences to every action you take. And when you look at how busy you've been from January till now, have you really honored the things that you would consider your dream? Have you really managed your relationships in a way that honors your values, that protects your integrity, your self-respect? Have you really handled money the way you would if you were operating as your best self? Boundaries are the root of it. And this number talks about that self-trust. And this thing, if it's not in one area of your life, it ripples out. That's why when I said boundaries is that one thing, it is because if it's porous on a level, my coach Paul Martinelli would say, how you do one thing is how you do everything. It ripples out into every area of your life, from how you negotiate with your friends, to how you choose your life partner, to how you make investment decisions, spending decisions. When you trust yourself, everything else falls into place. Because if yourself gives yourself a command, like we learned in the 7 levels of awareness, if you did purpose, vision, goals, you know what I'm talking about. The 4th level talks about discipline. The 5th level actually talks about discipline, the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. When you start getting into those higher levels of awareness, boundaries are what help you do that. Boundaries are what start helping you do that. So tell me, is this something you would like to learn? Because you see, I'm currently wearing red. Red is the color of what? Is the color of love. And this February, so many people think that love is just about romance. I love romance. I love PDA. If you see me with my boo, somehow our body is touching somewhere in public. I love it. But I also understand that it is what you amplify, it is what you choose that dictates the outcomes of the relationships you're in, that dictates your future, your life. And I would honor any relationship that has boundaries before I would honor one that just has lavish romance. Because boundaries doesn't mean quarrel. Boundaries mean that we're both at liberty to see each other for who we actually are and love each other for who we are. Boundaries mean that I can set a goal and not feel powerless, that I don't have what it takes to accomplish it. But I can say, okay, this is the course I'm going in, and know that I have the resources and the skills to go in that path. So join me again next week, but it's not just next week. I wrote 2 books on this topic. If you know the names of the book, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. I wrote 2 books on this topic, and we have a limited number of copies in Nigeria right now. And of course, we have copies all around the world through Amazon Publishing. Are you ready to get your copies? The first one is A Line in the Sand. I didn't actually, hey, hold on, guys. And those of you on Instagram, you fell down. I didn't actually plan to even pull it out, but I want to talk through them. Yes, this is A Tale of Two Wives. You guys see it right here. A Tale of Two Wives and A Line in the Sand. This one is short stories talking about boundaries in marriage. And the other one is, it talks about stories as well, which is amazing. It talks about the stories of Sarah and if you guys can see me on the screen, definitely let me know on Zoom. Let me know that we're still on. Okay, we are still on. So these two books, they will shift something in your life. They will help you have the mastery and the confidence to set boundaries. And I decided this year I want to do something special with you. I will be doing a book study with you, not just a book study. I will be having the Boundaries Boot Camp. The last time we held it was in 2023. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? If you are ready for it, tell me, yeah. If you are ready for it, let's go. Say, let's go. And we'll be having that the last weekend in this month. I'll send you more details. But for now, immediately you get the books, A Line in the Sand, which we're offering for a discount. We'll be sending, if you click the link in my bio, which I should be updating. So go ahead and send me a DM because the link in my bio, I want to make sure that it has the package deal. Because once you get any copy, the first thing you will get is access to the course, 9 Codes of Crucial Conversations. If you get both books right now, you will get access to that course, as well as have the opportunity to join me in this book studies. Boundaries Bootcamp will be holding at the end of this month. I'll be working with you one-on-one, but more details in group setting and in one-on-ones, but more details will be coming later. But every Sunday in this month of February, I'll be coming up to talk about boundaries. If you have any questions about boundaries, go ahead and put it in the chat. Go ahead and put it in the chat. If you have any questions, even now, I think I'll take a couple of questions. So if you do have, please put it in the chat right now. Let me respond to your questions. Any questions you might have. Somebody just put in the chat. She said, A line in the sand is powerful. You will laugh, you will cry, you will get angry. It will cause you to think and think. And let me add more. And think and think and think. It will cause you to do all these things because I tell your life. I tell your story here. I tell your sister's life and your mother's life because I found out that stories, but the reason why Jesus told so many stories is because he knew that if he just says it straight, sometimes life used to sound like too much advice. But if you see it happen, you will say, this shouldn't be. Remember when Nathan was going to, the prophet Nathan was going to tell David something David was doing wrong. What did he do? He told David the gist. And David is like, who is that person that dares do that thing? For what and why? Who is that person? And what happened eventually? What happened was that David said, this thing is wrong. And Nathan said, but you are the one doing it. How come David didn't realize till he saw it in the life of somebody else? How come? It is because every time we're hearing something, we start filtering it at the level of attack, fight, and flight. This is why boundaries help you to be objective. The next time somebody is giving you feedback, you're able to remove yourself from it and say, no, this is not really me, or this is me, or might there be something there? It's boundaries that help you do that. It's boundaries. Meanwhile, if you attended Purpose Vision Goals, you have 2 complimentary copies of the book. Even if you had the book before, I love gifting people books. This book is one of my best. Every time I give people, they are blowing up my phone, they are calling me. Why? Because they want to talk about it. That is how this book is phrased. It is phrased in a way that allows people to want to talk about it. If you are ready, say I'm ready. Now let me read Fela Durotoye's. So people wrote into this book when I was writing it. They wrote blurbs. So let me share with you Fela Durotoye. And if you know Fela, he's a nation builder. He is oh my gosh, one of those extremely integrous and excellent leaders in the world. Let me start what he wrote. He said, Bralade is an amazing storyteller, an exceptional communicator. Why, fella, thank you. She demonstrates this mastery in her debut book as she unveils timeless secrets that have helped families become dynasties through enduring and lasting relationships. We need more books like these to shed light on topics that are pivotal in supporting healthy marriages and family values for transgenerational impact. The fact that we get to read these stories through a rich cultural lens makes it all the more refreshing and relatable. Oh my gosh. And then Debola Dejukurumi, who's someone I really respect, said, Balade has undressed stigmas, fears, questions, love, life, and wisdom. Despite the many wonders in a line in the sand, I believe the biggest gift might be the healing that truth will bring to you. You know, many times we don't want to unveil our circumstance. We want to just manage it. I'm still managing. I know that my calendar is too full, but somehow, God help me. Oh, I was just able to make it through. And God is saying, allow everything to break, face the truth so that you can focus on what is most important. Sometimes we learn to walk with a limp, and the limp is not God's best for you. It's not your best for yourself. No, no, no. He said you would feel seen, you will feel understood, and you will feel loved. That's what I have in my heart for you. Love. I see people. I see people truly. It's the blessing of being able to see through the eyes of God. But it's also the blessing to see people go through the necessary pain to correct what was broken. You know, if your bone heals the wrong way, if you broke a bone and your bone heals the wrong way, do you know how they fix it? You start walking with a limp, right? But you don't feel any more pain. You just start managing. But you can't run as fast. You can't move as fast. You can't move as dexterously as you used to move before. Let me tell you what the medical solution for that thing is to break it. Is to first break it, and then they will now reset it. I cannot tell you that this journey will not allow you to unearth some of the hurt that you've been through. I cannot tell you. And this is why I bring my BFF, Coach Tombra, along for the journey. She's one of the healing mavens in the world. She just does this thing where you're able to let go of the anchors and the trauma that may have kept you. But if you can reset it, if you can trust, believe that this will work for you, trust the voice that is telling you to fix this thing. If you can believe that voice, you can start to walk again without hindrance. You will no longer be the one standing in your way. Those days will be gone. She said you might find yourself forgiving yourself. Isn't that the most important gift? I know sometimes we forgive other people, but we reserve the venom for our own self. Say, not me. I forgive myself truly and completely. Sometimes I hear people talking about themselves and my heart breaks, because who gets to love you? Who gets to forgive you if you haven't done it for yourself? Who? Who? Like, my eyes are tearing up as I'm thinking about it. Sometimes we think boundaries is only about others. But why would you allow the thought of I'm worthless remain in your heart? Why would you let yourself speak to yourself in your mind in a way that you would not speak to your worst enemy? Why? It's a lack of boundaries. And I teach this personal boundaries, the one you have within you, that's within yourself. Nobody is there, but you are already setting boundaries. Thus far, no more. I will not entertain such thoughts. Wow. She said, this is an unputdownable type of art, scripted delicately with brilliance, suspense, soul deep writing, and love. I love you, Sha. I do. In case you didn't know, yeah. She said, I hope millions of my brothers and sisters all over the planet lay their hands on this book as well, because it teaches all of us how precious our humanity is, as well as the responsibility we have to nurture our lives with intentional love, deliberate kindness, and personal agency. God bless you all. I love you. Have you had a good time? Does anyone have any questions for me? Does anyone have any questions for me as we keep going? I see you in the chat on Instagram and YouTube as well. And this is the first of many. Send me a DM if you want those books delivered to you. Even if you're in the US and you want me to send you signed copies, let me know and I'll be getting them across to you. And when you get both copies, remember what you get: 9 codes of crucial conversations. It's not, as we go through this series, and those of you who will be inside, who will get the books, you definitely get more. And those of you who will join the Boundaries Bootcamp, oh my gosh, you will get so much more as well. And let's not stop there. Let's get on this thing and fix it once and for all. You might be in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s. What are we doing? Why are we leaving the rest of our lives to chance and cultural conditioning? No, it's time to take back the reins, to own your power. How do you do that? It's by having boundaries. Not just having boundaries, enforcing them. And I get to teach you how. And it's the pleasure, the delight of my life to spend this time with you. God bless you. I look forward to seeing you next week. Go ahead and send me your DMs. And if you've read A Line in the Sand, tag us on social media. Tag us on social media. Hashtag A Line in the Sand book. And my name at I am Bralade on Instagram. Yeah. And same on at Bralade on Facebook. All right. Talk to you all later. And God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. See you in class and next Sunday as well. Forward this video to people you love and care about. It's better to make this journey together than to make it alone. As someone said, need that boot camp. You will be getting it. Don't worry about it. You will be getting it live and direct because you will not be growing alone. Let's all grow together without resentment, but with results. Yes, by being there for the people we love and having enough energy even for our own selves. That's how. We're too old to be living our lives to chance and to the whims and caprices of everybody else except ourselves. Remember those 5 things. Do you remember the 5 things that boundaries will give you? Let me recap with that before I go today. Remember those 5 things. The first one is it allows you to reclaim your energy. That energy that's dissipated everywhere, it allows you to reclaim it. Number 2, it allows your relationships to be places of true partnership, true connection, and true respect and love. It allows you to have those kind of relationships where there's mutual love and respect, and where purpose, vision, and goals can be accomplished. Number 3, it allows your time to be liberated. We're not talking time management of cramming everything as though you are not a finite resource and burning you out. No, we're talking about you having enough time for the things that you are committed to, for the things that you truly are purposed, aligned to. Yeah. Number 4, it's a success accelerator. If you're enjoying any level of success, add boundaries to it and see. I mean, with intentionality, because even now, as I'm talking with you, you do have a level of boundaries. You do. That's why you will not walk outside naked. That's why you will not go on the streets fighting with somebody, at least I hope not. You do have some level of boundaries, but many times we wait till the thing has choked us. Nah, we're not operating at that level. And finally, number 5, the self-trust multiplier. You can respect yourself again. You can treat yourself as that authority of your life. You can trust your intuition. When next time your intuition tells you this person is not safe, you can listen. Why? Because you have put so much within you. Have listened to yourself so much that your voice becomes an authority in your life. Well done. God bless. And I will be seeing you when? Okay, before next Sunday. And if you haven't joined my email list yet, go ahead and join. And don't worry, I'll put some things on my page. If you have any questions for me, DM me. If there's nothing, if I don't have a link to something that you need, let me know and we will make it possible. Have you ever had a wonderful time? Yes, you have. Instagram, I just added it today. don't know if next time I will add you. Okay. So just be knowing that. God bless you and talk to you.